Welcome to another episode of the Beck Lover Podcast, where you might learn a thing or two about life, and you never know who I'm going to bring into the studio. Today I got a fascinating person, a New York socialite, a philanthropist, and there's a lot more to the things that he does in this life. I have a local celebrity known as Vadim The Machine. You might have seen him out there in the EDM world, Burning Man, in the shadows of New York City's nightlife. This is an interesting cat, and I'm happy to have him on the show. So, Vadim, welcome to the studio, brother. How you doing?
Thank you, Beck. Thank you, Beck. Thank you, guys. Appreciate for having me.
What's going on, Vadim?
Everything's good. Everything's good. Life is awesome. What shall we talk about?
We're going to talk about you first, your life. But before we get into that, what did you do this weekend? Anything interesting?
This weekend, Saturday, I am supposed to be in Las Vegas. My dear friend Giovanni Cabrera is gonna be fighting elimination fight. It's gonna be on Showtime and pay-per-view on a very big arena, T-Mobile Arena.
Your friend's fighting?
Yeah.
How'd you become friends?
Well, I have a lot of friends all over the world.
You meet people in real life, right? You meet
yes,
them in real life, you
yeah.
meet them at events. You meet
Yeah,
them
absolutely. No,
I mean, me and you, we met each other at Nebula,
Mm-hmm.
if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And it was, I think, Artbat was performing that night, if I'm not
Yes.
mistaken.
Guys from
Artbat.
Ukraine, yeah.
Phenomenal music.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And
awesome.
I saw you, and you were very warm. You were very receptive, very social. And I think we were at Alex Denham's table.
Yep.
And we were having a nice time. We were all dancing, having a good time. And that's how I got to meet you.
Correct.
And now I'm really going to get to know you the same way the rest of the world is. So let's get into your life, man. You were telling me some fascinating things. Your life didn't start in America, and it's not because of your accent. But we can tell from your accent you weren't born here.
Correct.
So where did life start for Vadim the Machine?
I was born and raised in the biggest, most northern city in the world called Norilsk.
So what's it called again?
Norilsk.
Norilsk.
It's
northernmost city in the world.
It's the biggest city in the world with such a big population of people. When I was a kid and when I was growing up, it was about 280,000 people living there.
Wow.
Now these days is around 180,000 people.
And this is in Russian territory?
Yeah, it's in Arctic Circle. Arctic Circle, if you know globe, starts on 64 degrees. What is it?
Latitude?
Yeah.
Or longitude?
Yeah, and Norilsk is on 70. 69, 70.
So you're definitely in the circle.
Yeah, correct.
So it's safe to say a very harsh environment.
Yeah, it's a
survive.
place not for people to live.
That's amazing. So you were born there.
Born and raised, correct.
And you were born there not only in a very difficult environment, you were also born in the Soviet Union.
Correct, yeah.
Now this is not the Siberian territory, is it?
No, Siberia is south from, like maybe 1,000 kilometers south from my place.
So you guys are even...
Yeah.
Wow.
We used to go to Siberia for vacation.
For spring break.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy. So you were born there and you grew up there? Young part of your life?
Yeah.
You, your family?
My first 21, 22 years, yeah.
Wow. And you had siblings too?
Yeah, sister, yeah.
Wow. Do you remember anything about that
Absolutely.
time of your life? So what
I
was
remember
a day
everything.
like? What's a day in the life of living in such a difficult environment?
This place, Norilsk, is known in the world as hell on earth. Just it's not hot, it's very cold, very cold. The temperature, the winter is 9 months a year. 1 month is spring, 1 month is summer, 1 month is fall.
How low do those temperatures go?
to minus 65 Celsius.
Celsius.
It's around minus 85 Fahrenheit.
Wow.
But I know this last winter, 100 kilometers, maybe 60. 100 kilometers. Yeah, around 60 something miles up north from Norilsk. They registered minus 74 Celsius.
Wow. How do people even survive in that type of world?
It's very tough. But we just didn't know anything better. We were just born there.
You can't even really be outside for long. I mean, would people even walk outside during these times? I mean,
Yeah, it's very, very difficult. You have to, use like this to do like this every minute.
like oils?
Otherwise, you can lose your ears or your nose.
Seconds.
I mean, not seconds. If you, when it's very cold, you can lose it. Some of my friends had no fingers because they lost them.
Very heavy, I'm assuming, clothing.
Yeah, furs, absolutely, yeah.
Very Eskimo-like, I'm thinking. Yeah, dressing. Very.
Yeah, but they built that city that way very compact because there are very, very like
everything close.
Yeah, so the like ridiculous winds cannot travel too much because they put like buildings into those configurations that there's not much where
you can jump into the grocery store, jump into the school,
yeah.
The couple steps.
Yeah, and plus the taxi working is very good.
Did your family choose that place to live, or were they moved? I mean, why would they live there? Why not get the hell out of there? It's a crazy existence.
Yeah, in 1929, I believe, Soviet Union geologist discovered that kind of Klondike, like one of the richest spot on Earth for heavy metals.
For heavy metals.
Yeah, and I believe in 1937, since 1937, Stalin, Russian tyrant back then, started to send their
miners.
No, not miners. It was middle of nothing.
There's nothing there.
Permanent permafrost.
Wow.
He started to send his political prisoners.
So that was worse than Siberia, though.
Yeah.
Gulag.
Yeah, it was a part of Gulag. Those labor camps were all around the country, and Norilsk was part of Gulag, a very, very important strategic part of Gulag, because he sent those hundreds of thousands political prisoners and heavy criminals like murderers, rapists, and all most disgusting people there. So they could not, those prisoners that could not talk to each other, they could not make some revolution or something.
And also, if they escape, good luck surviving, because you have to go thousands of miles. And
there is no escape from there. There are no roads whatsoever, and closest town or village from the maybe 1,000 kilometers or something like that. Maybe 600 miles at least.
Wow.
You cannot go from there anywhere, and you cannot get there other than commercial airlines.
So no one even drives there.
No. I mean, no. Inside of the city, yeah, there are buses, cars, and everything. Yeah.
But to get there,
no, you cannot get there anyhow.
Even today, the only way in is to fly in.
Even today, correct.
That's unbelievable. So how did your family end
also
up
because it's so. So why Stalin sent those prisoners there? Soviet Union back then was very kind of weak in military terms. Country needed money, and because they found those heavy metals, very precious metals that are used in ballistic missiles, in spaceshipcraft, and many other industries like microschemes, right?
and microchips.
Yeah, microchips.
Sputnik, Robotnik.
So Stalin said to those prisoners, go there and redeem yourself. by building a city, building mines, extract those metals, and we're gonna send it. We're gonna be starting sending them to London Metal Exchange, and we get dollars. And we're gonna rebuild country's military to prepare for the World War II.
So, how did your family end up there? Why were you born there?
From 1937 till Stalin death in 1953, it was only only prisoners.
Only prisoners, okay.
Yeah, hundreds of thousands. They die, they get executed there. They send more and more and more. But when he died, they could not send any more prisoners. But they also did not allow people who were in prison. I mean, they're in that labor camp. At that point, they did not allow them to leave. I mean, they finished their sentences, 15, 20 years, whatever, 10 years, and they were not allowed to leave. They had to stay there and live there in that whole life. So they assimilated, got families and blah, blah, blah.
So what I'm saying, was your father or grandfather sent there?
No. After his death, they needed more people there, but they couldn't send more prisoners because it was end of Stalin's era. So they came up with the idea, like, if you are young and if you are communist, go to Norilsk. We will pay you like 3 times more than in any other city of Russia. And and my parents were young and very young people. So they just went there for big money.
To become miners, basically.
To work for that company, which now is one of the biggest public metal production company in the world, Norilsk Nickel. You can buy stocks on any stock exchange anywhere.
I think they should send you some stock. That's what I think. So that's just what an amazing, scary, start to someone's life, to be born in one of the harshest, most brutal environments imaginable. In America, we think of the North Pole and we think of maybe Siberia. We hear the word. You literally started your life in a place where if you don't know what you're doing, you're dead very quickly.
Yeah.
What was it like to be a child in that world? Do you remember playing? I mean, did you go to school? I mean, what?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we had a pretty much good childhood. I mean, it was very tough, but we, because we were born there, for us it was a norm. We didn't know any better, and we adapted because we were born there.
Now, when you say summer was a month, like, what was summer? I mean, was there ever really even a summer there? I mean, like, what was the warmest it could ever get there?
For a couple of weeks, it might get hot. Like in Fahrenheit, it might get to to plus 90 even.
Yeah.
But maybe for 1 week or 2 weeks.
Wow.
But the rest of the summer, from in Fahrenheit, from 29 to 70, 75. So it might snow in July. Wow. The snow melts in June, and new snow gets in September. And from end of September to beginning of June, it's a winter.
What about daylight? Is there periods where there's light all day and darkness all day?
Yeah. 2 months during that big 9 months winter. 2 months is called polar night, when it's 24/7, no
darkness.
light. Yeah, and during summer, it's a polar day. Sun doesn't go down for 2 months.
So those that
24/7
are out there that think the world is flat, what do you think? You think the world's round or flat?
No, of course it's round. I mean,
you would think it's round, right?
Absolutely.
It's a big debate. What do you think about this big debate? It's round, it's flat, it's round, it's flat.
It's not flat.
What were the best moments of growing up there? I mean, what was something that was really cool or just happy, that you can remember of growing up in such a harsh environment?
I mean, there was a lot of beauty there, but it was, a lot of ugly things. Ugly.
Would people keep livestock? Was it like farms or
No,
keep
no,
animals?
Everything
had to be shipped in always?
Yeah, only 2 months during the warmest 2 months a year. There was a spot. Time frame when all food for the whole city for the whole year could be brought through the either river from south or from Arctic Ocean by those big cargo ships.
And they would stock it for the whole year?
Yeah.
Was there ever shortages? Did you ever run out of food up there?
No.
Remember any of that? No.
Because this city was so important because it was, for example, only palladium, I believe, only that metal, palladium, yeah, 33% of world production of palladium is from Norilsk, from one single.
And till this day, it's still an important city, still used,
still
mining.
Yeah, the city is forbidden city. Citizens of Russia from other cities cannot go there, not allowed. It's a forbidden city. Only people who live and work for that Norilsk nickel, that metal production company, can go there. Now and you cannot buy even ticket to fly there.
You finished high school there?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
And now you grew up in, obviously, the Soviet Union. It was much more closed off to the world. You lived in the Soviet Union until the fall of communism there?
Yeah, of course. Soviet Union dissolved in 1991. And after that, I moved to St. Petersburg. Yeah, and
so were you allowed to leave at that time? You were not allowed to leave.
No, we lived in that city. We could go anywhere inside of Soviet Union.
You were allowed to,
yeah,
but no one could visit you guys.
Correct. Well, there was some
exceptions.
Exceptions. Like if you have relatives or close friends, they have to, kind of almost like a visa and shit.
to get to visit this one town.
Yeah, but if somebody doesn't just wanna visit without having anybody to do that like long procedure, they could not get there.
Can I ask you a silly question?
And when people get there, the custom soldiers with AK-47s with German shepherds come to the on airplane and check everybody passport if person does not supposed to be there, they basically could not get it. It's very like secretive city. There are maybe 5 of them total, maybe 10 maximum in whole Soviet Union.
You are the ones closest to the Arctic Circle.
It's inside of Arctic Circle, yes.
And people have all these different theories and conspiracies that there's, this race between Russia and America, that there's something there that we don't know about. I mean, do you heard stories like this? You know anything about this? You have any comments about anything like this? You ever see anything crazy? Do you see any weird lights or UFOs?
Yeah. Aurora, we saw Aurora every night. Not every, like maybe every second night. For us, it was not something very awesome. It was like every, it's regular thing during the winter.
It's like me looking at the New York skyline. I've seen it my whole life. But someone has never seen it. They're like, oh my God, it's very interesting. Yeah. Can I ask you a stupid question?
And I saw some shit was coming from the sky, like, I don't know, was it meteors or meteorites? But I saw many
all
times. All
kinds of stuff. Yeah, and over there you don't really have light pollution either. You can see the sky.
No. The pollution. Well, the city actually 10 years ago I found a video on YouTube that was called the 10 worst places on earth to live, and 10 different places from all over the world. And check it out. Number 1 in that video is my hometown, Norilsk. On top of that ridiculous weather, Wow, there is the worst air pollution, I think, in the world
Yeah,
from
from the mining.
from metal production, heavy metal
Yeah,
production.
mining.
Those metals that very very bad for your health. People die young there. The retirement age there, depending on your occupation, 40, 45, 50, and 55.
You think you'd be alive if you still lived there today?
No, absolutely not.
Can I ask you just one silly question?
Mhm.
Like, did you ever use the restroom outside? Like, if you peed, would it freeze instantly? Like, is it that fucking cold? Like, is this anything like that? Like,
Well,
people are curious about this type of stuff. I know it's a silly question, but
I mean, we.
could you even use the bathroom outside, or you just freeze instantly?
I mean, that happened a few times when you really need to pee and you gotta pee and you cannot hold it anymore.
I mean,
Of course,
does it
you do it
literally
outside.
freeze in the air on
No,
spot? Like,
not like that, but it does hit the ground and start to like make like this kind of
oh, just builds up. Wow, that's good.
when it's very cold, when
Wow.
it's like minus 50 Celsius.
Kind of like sand on the beach when you drop it wet, like it builds up.
Yeah, kind of.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
That's just, you know, to me, it's fascinating to meet someone that comes from a place like that, a place that I probably will never see in my life. And that's the beauty of what we do when we talk to each other and learn about each other's lives. There's probably hundreds of people that walk past you every day that don't realize where your life started. And you eventually end up here in America, but you said you moved to St. Petersburg. So what was that like? St. Petersburg is a beautiful city.
Yeah.
Were you like, thank God, I mean, what was that like, and why did you move to St. Petersburg?
Well, let me say something first. From Norilsk is closer distance to North Pole than from Norilsk to Moscow. And second, I know that I was put into Norilsk. I was born there, and I had to spend so much time of my life there to redeem my previous life sins. And I've been helping people all my life since I was, 10 years old. I was organizing some kind of parties already as a child, and always helping my friends, always making some money. In Soviet Union, any business was considered illegal.
Black market.
Only government was allowed to do business. Whatever you try to sell to anybody, if somebody tells police, they'll come and put you to jail for just selling. Even you sell somebody jeans and he will tell them that he got it from you, you'll get to jail for that. Like couple years at least, 2-3 years.
What would you tell to all the kids in America that want to walk around with shirts of Che Guevara from Cuba and Fidel Castro and Stalin on their shirt? Do you think they would enjoy the life that you saw over there in that type of system?
No, absolutely not. They don't know what they're trying to achieve here. Socialism, communism is the most disgusting thing, It's so bad, you have no idea. We were so like slaves. Government fuck you over all the time. Sorry.
No, you can curse. It's open. Open speech. Free speech still, thank God. What was it like to grow up in a place where you have to be careful what you say? Because if you say the wrong thing in the world you grew up in, what happens?
For example, I was 14. I shaved my these parts of my
Sideburns.
Of my hair, and I just was walking outside. Police car, even not police. It was like without any
KGB.
Without any signs. Black Volga brand car. They just got me into the car, got me into the police, beat me up. As they said, because I don't have those thing. They said you are Nazi, neo-Nazi. I'm fucking crazy.
Wow. Were you scared? Because they could have sent you anywhere. Could have sent you back.
And they beat me up. They put me to cage for a few hours. Then they let me go.
Just because you shaved your sideburns.
Mm.
And there's people in this country who were born and raised here, 5 generations, 6 generations, and they think it's cool to even think that these types of systems could be beneficial to the world and the American society. So someone that's made it here, and you came here, do you remember what year you came to the U.S.? Or how did you even get here to the U.S.?
We'll get to it. We'll get to it. But just, few, maybe different episodes. Even rock music was prohibited. If they find you, if they catch rock musicians, they either put them to jail or put them forcibly into psychiatric institution, put bad drugs in them, make them completely crazy for life, and keep them there for life, or for 10, 15 years.
Did you lose any friends during this time period?
Yeah, a lot.
Were you an artist yet? Did you?
No, but I was making money or any way I could since 13 years old. Always illegal, always either on the age, if I go, always like either I get arrested for doing business, any kind of business, because it's all illegal, any business, or I go to, or gangsters will catch me and, kill or take all my money or whatever. It was like double trouble. Yeah, but I was always smart, and usually I was able to get away either unharmed or harmed but not killed. Life didn't cost a thing there. You could get killed easily for saying something wrong to wrong person, or just look at somebody wrong way, or without any reason. Or if you get into car accident and in that other car happen to be gangsters, they would take you to somewhere and just either get your signature that you are giving them a gift apartment, for example, or everything, whatever you have, or they might just kill you and leave it somewhere that nobody will find you. That's how difficult, how difficult life was there. For normal people, it was very difficult life.
When you moved to St. Petersburg, was it just you, or did your family come with you?
In Russia, it's a draft when always draft
For army?
For army, yeah. When
2 years or how many years?
When you're 18, you go for 2 years in army.
Many of the former communist countries had that. Albania had that. Montenegro, Serbia, those countries all had the same thing. 2 years mandatory.
Yeah.
They actually had an expression in the Albanian language, like, you're not a man until you did your 2 years. For the system.
Yeah, when I went to army, yes, we didn't try even to get away from going there. There were some ways, difficult ways, usually not for regular people.
So was that why
only for people from like sons of big bosses or political people, from.
Is that
government.
why you were in St. Petersburg?
No.
Was it to serve your 2 years, or?
No. I served 2 years in Siberia, actually, in the biggest city of Siberia, Novosibirsk. Yeah.
So you leave there, St. Petersburg. They send you back up north.
In Novosibirsk, in Siberia for 2 years, and when I was 20, I got back home. And that army, of course, was very difficult. It was basically the same as Russian prisons. Were very bad back then. I don't know how about now. Back then, those soldiers just to show each other the superiority. We're killing each other. We're destroying each other, like physically, mentally. Rape was a regular thing. People were, dying sometimes, often, and committed suicide, and because they couldn't take the, anymore because it was so bad. And the Soviet Union was collapsing that year when I went to army, 1988, and there was a shortage of food supply in country in general, but army was a weak link, and we were just left, forgotten. This food was a big problem. First 6 months, I basically ate bread and water. If I get somehow butter or a little bit of milk, I would be very happy. But whatever they were giving us, it was not eatable at all. It was very bad shit.
You've seen a lot of crazy things already at a young age.
Yeah. All the soldiers were sending us every night, not every night, almost every night, somewhere outside of the perimeter, which was already against the law, to find and catch stray dogs so they can eat those dogs with potato.
Wow. Have you ever ate dog?
No, I always respected myself very much. I could not go that low.
No matter how hungry you were, huh?
Yeah. First, after 6 months, because of a lack of nutrition, because only bread, my head became like square, like a robot's head, like this, big. But within 6 months, I figured life out, and I started to live very nicely, early than other soldiers of my age. Yeah.
So, how do you get out of that environment, and how do you end up here? How did you get to New York?
And so after army, I had some business in Norilsk, and then I moved to St. Petersburg. That's now I understand. By that age, I have done a lot of good things for many people, and by doing those good deeds, I believe I redeemed completely all my previous life sins, and God upgraded me from worst place on earth to the best city of whole country. So Saint Petersburg, the cultural capital of Russia. Moscow was political and financial capital, and Saint Petersburg was for intelligent people, for people with art and musicians and all that. People that
creative people.
Yeah. I only could see myself living in that country only in St. Petersburg. So when I could pick where I can go, I of course went there, and I had the best life, the best years of my life. From basically from 22, 21 till 30. I was like first like half time spending in St. Petersburg, half time in Norilsk because of my business.
And what was that business, if you don't mind me asking?
Me and my one of my closest friends and my business partner, we had 3 little stores, 24/7, working, selling some stuff, and we were shipping all those products and alcohol and Coca-Cola, cigarettes, whatever, from St. Petersburg or Moscow to Norilsk, and we're selling in our stores and and we were giving other stores owners to sell our stuff. Yeah, we were getting like the biggest cargo plane that existed back then. Yeah, it was very cool time. Sometimes we would just bring alcohol, the like medical grade alcohol, the whole plane, 40 tons of clean alcohol.
For wounds and for cuts?
No,
and,
no.
or for drinking?
Yeah.
Strong.
And vodka, and of course vodka, liquors, all kind of stuff, yeah. Mm-hmm. And then I ended up completely in St. Petersburg, started new life there. It was amazing.
So money's good. You're young. You got businesses.
I mean, well, business in Norilsk ended abruptly, and had to start over in St. Petersburg completely from zero. But I always could find the way to make money, and had a good time. And at some point, when and again, I was doing a lot of good things for many people, and God upgraded me again because I already felt that if I don't leave this crazy country with that, I would definitely end up dead or in prison, because 1990s was very difficult time when in 1991 Soviet Union collapsed and new Russia came out. Old laws did not work because that country did not exist anymore. New laws were not even created. It was wild west, like Chicago, 1920s, 1930s. Bullets were flying, people were dying every day. Gangs were, using grenade launchers during the day in St. Petersburg to kill each other.
That's what people don't understand. Like when those types of societies collapse, the same thing happened in Albania. You had a period of chaos. You had power vacuum. You have certain groups trying to rise up, take control, undergrounds moving too. It's a lot of different moving pieces in a society, and when there's a shift like that, that's a major shift. Mm-hmm. Is a lot of room for things to go wrong, and a lot of people catch bullets just for being at the wrong place at the wrong time. So it gets a little, from what it sounds like, it gets a little hectic in St. Petersburg, and you figure it's time to get the hell out of here.
Yeah. There were many actually reasons. I kind of, knew somehow subconsciously, even when I was 13 years old, that I will live in New York one day.
Did you even know where New York was? Did you even know it existed when you lived in that isolated part of the world?
Yeah, I mean, the Soviet Union was like iron curtains. You could not travel anywhere outside of the country.
What were people's perceptions?
But we knew, we had TVs. Yeah, we knew about life.
You grew up in a time where there was censorship.
Mm-hmm.
The Soviet Union. Yeah. Censorship, only what they want you to see, only what they want you to think. And obviously America was known as the enemy the same way they told us Russia's the enemy, right? Over here growing up. They're the enemy. They're telling you we're the enemy. What do you feel the general thought the Russian people had at that time of Americans during the Soviet Union? Did the propaganda work?
Yeah,
in their minds?
Yeah. People, were always brainwashed. We all were from the young age brainwashed, of course.
Did you guys know about the Rocky IV movie where he fights the Russian?
Yeah, it was.
Did anyone ever see that movie? Was it black market? Like, was there a way for you? Was there a way for you to see that film in Russia? Even though if you probably had that film, you would probably be sent to the gulag or even killed. Did that movie ever make it to Russia during that
Yes,
time?
yes, yeah. That's also a very interesting part of my life. I was actually so when video players were kind of got into Russia. 1983, 1984, I believe. 1983, 1984. I was 14 years old.
After the collapse.
Yeah. No. Collapse was 1991. That was
Soviet
7 years before.
Okay.
And maybe three, maybe five people in whole Norilsk city had those players.
VCRs.
Yeah, VCRs. Yes.
Video cassette.
Yeah, and I knew a couple of them already. 14 years old boy, and I already had some money because I, always doing something, selling some bullshit.
Hustler, man.
Yeah.
Whatever you can make $1 on just to stay alive.
And so I was renting from those big people, VCR, big TV, flat screen TV. I mean, not completely flat TV, just flat screen TV.
Yeah,
huge, heavy, but flat screen, and bunch of video cassettes with American movies. All American movies were considered considered anti-Soviet propaganda. Most of them. You could not, even watch those any of those movies on TV. We were growing up watching Indian, Italian, French movies, Romanian movies. Rocky IV, you mentioned, was considered completely anti-Soviet propaganda. If you caught watching it or showing it to anybody, you go to jail for 5 years.
For watching Rocky IV.
Yeah, and I was showing people. So I was renting it for one day. I would find apartment of one of my friends where parents are not home whole day, and we would put all furniture into another room, and the biggest room of the apartment would become a small illegal theater. And I would put that equipment there, and I would sell tickets to boys and girls, teenagers, and do like several sessions during the day. People just sit on the floor, like a room, maybe 200 square feet room, and 30-40 people at every point. One session, one session 3 hours, 2 movies usually, and I was showing them all kind of movies, and it was also always the possibility that I would get arrested and sent to jail. Even when I was 14, you still go to jail just for minors, different labor camp for minors, and you spend until you're 18, and then they put you to adults.
Hard jail.
Yeah.
So do you remember? I mean, did you watch Rocky IV over there?
Of course, yeah.
So how did you guys feel about that?
And I was very curious about America even when I was 7 years old.
What did you think about the speech at the end? If you can, like he's like trying to unite in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have to be enemies. We can. Did you feel like, okay, this is a little bullshit here, or are Americans really people that want to have peace with us? I mean, what was your? This is before you lived in America. Do you remember what you thought of that?
No, I of course I remember, and I knew everything because I was not that one that they could brainwash. I by the age of 10, I read all 32 books of big Soviet encyclopedia. It's about everything in the world, in all history of people. 32 books because for every letter of Russian alphabet, one book, and it was like 2,500 maybe pages, big one. By age 10, I read them all, My parents had them, the full collection, and yeah, I knew everything. And of course, I was trying to listen Radio of America,
Voice of America.
Radio Svoboda, maybe Radio Freedom or something.
Voice of America.
Seva Novgorodtsev. He was former Russian who immigrated to the United States, and and it was cool. And they were trying to completely make it you could not listen that it was AM. I forgot which one, but you could just get there somehow. Try to understand what he was saying. Because he was doing his podcast in Russian language, so something to know about world. Because
so it was basically a signal America was beaming towards you guys, hoping that you guys could pick it up and try to unlock minds.
Yeah, that also was illegal to listen that radio.
If they catch you, but if you turn the station, nobody's around, you try to listen, you try to hear what's going on outside, right?
Yeah, sometimes you could, sometimes you couldn't understand anything because they were, forcibly trying to not, I don't know even how to say it, that you could not understand any word, like some noise, put some noise on it. I don't know how they do it, but anyway, yeah, I was very, very curious. And yeah, I know everything, knew everything, and that's why I already back then thought that I will at some point live in US.
And the world is much bigger than what they told you.
Yeah.
So what year do you come here?
What year? 2000. Yeah. In 1995, I tried to get visa, tourist visa, or 1996. Yeah. They didn't give me that visa. So I started to apply for a green card lottery. It's a free lottery by US government every year for most of the countries in the world. And 3 years in a row, and on year 3 I won that. But before that, I converted to Tibetan Buddhism, and right away, miracles started to happen in my life. Many miracles.
So you are a follower of Tibetan Buddhism?
Yeah.
What made you go on that spiritual journey? What made you seek out?
Well, I had accident. And
Car accident?
I don't want to talk about all the details, but basically...
Near-death experience?
Yeah.
You almost died?
Yeah. I was basically there for 3 minutes. And I saw everything. I mean, I saw things I cannot even describe. I mean, I don't want to even start talking about it, but it was the best 3 minutes of my life, basically. After that, all my life changed.
And this is before
to a good way.
But this is before you came to America, right?
Yeah.
This is while you're still in St. Petersburg?
Yeah.
So you have a near-death experience?
But I went to Norilsk to visit my friends, and that's where it happened, in my hometown.
So in your hometown, you almost died?
Yeah.
And you had 3 minutes that you can confirm that you were not...
I don't want to go to details, but...
but you had an experience that led you to Tibetan Buddhism.
Correct. I mean, not right away. After that, I had so many questions. And that was so crazy. I started to, go every day to the biggest public library of St. Petersburg, trying to find answers. And once I found, I learned everything about our religions and many sacred practices and all very interesting things. And Tibetan Buddhism explained closely much more than any other religion or sect, what happens with the soul when the time to leave this body, when you leave your body for good.
So you believe there's more than one, you have more than one life. You don't believe in an eternal soul.
We all souls, we just have in this physical world, we just have human experience. And we come here many times to learn something, to grow up and develop ourselves as a spiritual beings, and to one day get to the highest level and become one with God. God is one. Doesn't matter if you believe in God, or doesn't matter what religion you are, or how you perceive all this. God is one. All religions were just for different people from different places with different traditions, how they interpreted God, but doesn't matter. It's the same as if you look into the around room from above with, let's say, 10 doors, and in every door there is a road and people standing in line, coming. It's kind of representation of major religions and sects, and depending where you were born and raised, this is basically a road that brings you into the same room. Doesn't matter, you're still gonna get into the same room at the end. But how hard you will try to work on yourself, spiritual self-development, as how long you're gonna reincarnate, and you can get human body again next life, or you can get something better, or you can get something worse. It all depends on amount of your good deeds, good words, and good thoughts versus bad thoughts, bad words, and bad deeds, bad actions. Doesn't matter if you believe in it or not. One day you will be standing in front of God, and He will know everything. You cannot hide anything from the God. Everything will be counted like on scales, and at that point it will be decided where you're gonna go to the next after you leave this body for good.
I believe similar things.
But I not just believe, I was there. I know things. Not many people alive experience that.
No, I haven't had a near. I mean, I've gotten close to not being here no more, but never where I was under. And you were under, and you came back from that. So your perspective is a little different. You finally get the visa.
Mm-hmm.
You come to the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
And you're coming now spiritually different, right? Because of everything that happened back there. You come to the U.S. in the year 2000.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right after the, you remember what was it? Spring? Was it when? I mean, when did you come here?
June.
So the Y2K thing was already over. You come to New York City. Do you remember your first thought in your mind when you actually saw it and you got off that plane and you're like, I'm here?
Yeah.
Were you excited? Were you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. The air was when we just got out of. I already got a wife and one daughter with me, like 4 months old baby daughter, and we got out of the plane, and the air was way cleaner than in Russia.
New York City, yeah.
No, right after we got out of the plane.
Oh,
I remember right away. It was very different, very clean comparing to Russia.
New York City air.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah. Well, comparing in Norilsk, by the way, the pollution is so bad that almost every day, you see like you think it's smog, but it's not a smog, or yeah, it's not a smog. It's just a gas, and because the heavy metals production, the smoke goes up, but it's much heavier than air,
So it's
so it
particles.
goes down on the city, and we breathe with that, and you cannot even breathe. It's so bad. It's so bad. The cancer is very
Very high.
yeah, comparing to other cities in Russia. Yeah, that's why people die there. Not
So you come
not
here.
very old. I would
You
say.
come to the U.S. as a new immigrant with a wife and a kid. What do you do for work when you first get here?
Well, again, after I converted to Buddhism, I start to get some uh, gifts. I would say miracles from God. It's not easy to win a green card in lottery. It was one thing. Then another thing that right after right after we came to New York, to United States, in 12 days, I got a job, which was a miracle because I got a job as software engineer in U.S. company in Manhattan, even though I was not software engineer, and even though I was not even really computer user.
I couldn't even get a job out of college with a
And
degree.
and on top of
the
it,
economy was booming back then.
and on top of it, I didn't have any language skills, no English whatsoever.
You didn't speak at all.
Uh,
How the hell did you get that job?
it was one of the miracles.
Wow.
But in 12 days, I got the job.
As a new immigrant, most immigrants start mopping floors and cleaning toilets and
Yeah.
breaking their back in construction or working in fast food, and you end up as a software engineer job. You don't even know what you're doing with computers. You don't even speak the language.
Yeah. I didn't speak language. I didn't ever learn any software engineering, writing code, nothing. But as I said
So you
before,
become a coder.
huh?
You start doing code.
Yeah, yeah. I got, I mean, I got angel. I had angel in my life that God put into my life. My sister, and you know, she was always protecting me and helping me all my life, and she helped me to get the job.
She's here in the U.S.
Yeah, yeah,
So you had family here.
yeah.
So your sister came before you.
Yeah,
How many years before you did she make it to?
5. 5. And yeah, she helped me. She vouched for me, and she was also
Coder.
yeah. And they gave me that job as like probation for 3 months. She told them, promise that I am very smart and I will pick up English and software engineering, writing code very quickly.
And she'll help you. She'll teach you.
She and other employees, Russian and Ukrainian employees, also programmers. Yeah, and yeah, I did pick up the that programming language and English very quickly. Maybe I went after work. I had to go to Long Island University in the evening, like 4 hours or 5 hours more, to study English. But it was very difficult first 6 months. At the job, I was losing consciousness just because I was trying to figure out the software, how to write the code. But to learn it, you need to first learn how to read in English, which I didn't know either. So it was.
How long did you
I had
last?
to put all my knowledge, all my brain to make it somehow, to learn it. And when I was overheating, I guess my brain, I was just boom on on the keyboard and wake up in 15 minutes after and start working again. It was like happening often, a couple times a day.
So it was a difficult time.
Yeah,
For
but I learned it anyway, and very soon they they gave me that permanent job and gave me much better salary. And yeah, I worked there for 3 years in that company. A year, a year, a year after we came to the United States, September 11th happened. And that was the day when my company sent me to work first time to client side, JP Morgan Chase, to fix our software that broke down. And that was on Wall Street. So I got out of subway under the World Trade Center station. And I got into that whole mess.
You were there under the subway?
I mean, when first plane hit the first building, I was already in the office, and I saw a bunch of papers flying through the window, and I was very new in US. I couldn't understand what is this. Somebody told me maybe it's some advertisement from a helicopter or something like that. And then some guys started to look up on internet and found out what happened, even though we didn't know if it's a terrorist attack or anything else, or if it was just an accident. And then we saw second one hit the second building. That's when we ran outside, and I was very curious to understand what happened. I saw people were running that way, and I decided to go this way to come close to see what was going on. And I stood there like many other people, and I saw terrible things. I saw people were just jumping and hitting the floor with very bad sound. Very bad.
I was there that day too. I was underneath the World Trade Center.
We still did not know if it was terrorist attack at that point, and then later police started to push us back, not to stand close. So we went back to Wall Street, and there was a little bar. We decided to watch on TV what's going on from that bar, and then boom, everything became very dark.
So you stayed down there. Me, I got on the Brooklyn Bridge and walked. I got the hell out of there.
So first we got into the bar.
I got out of there before the collapse.
So when we were already there in that bar, suddenly everything became dark.
So you were in there when they collapsed.
And that we didn't know. We thought it's another explosion somewhere close. We got out of that bar, and it was very dark. We could not see anything, and we could not breathe. It was very bad.
So you breathed that in, huh?
It was very bad.
You breathed the dust in.
Yeah, and I saw old people were dying, right, because they couldn't breathe. I put my short and shirt and my t-shirt and tried to create kind of filter, but it was not helping much.
You ever checked your lungs out?
No. Back then I was young and stupid kind of.
I was lucky. I got halfway over the Brooklyn Bridge before they came down.
So
I missed that cloud. Missed me. I was always scared of that cloud, knowing after how many people that breathed that in.
I finally got.
They're not here today.
I finally got on the highway, BK, right? Yeah.
West Side Highway or the East Side?
So I started to walk on the highway because all cars were, stopped there, and I was just walking like many other people. It was very bad spot. We were in that we could not see anything. It was very hard to breathe, but I went to the direction where the Brooklyn Bridge was.
Yeah.
And
I mean, that cloud came all the way to Brooklyn.
yeah, and
I just kept staying ahead of it, and I'm lucky. I'm very lucky.
and when I when I got to close to the Brooklyn Bridge already got closed, and we could not go to Brooklyn. So we walked further there to close to Manhattan Bridge, and only when we were next to Manhattan Bridge, me and a couple of friends, not friends, just random people, we stopped, and we only then we could see that only one building still standing, and that's when I found out that it was not a third explosion. It was just one building collapse, and we were just standing. And I'm trying to ask with my very bad English these two guys how would fighters put down that fire on such a high, like very high. There, no way. And we just looking at it on it, and it was just collapsing right in front of us. Like, oh, what the? It just realized that just at least 1 or 2,000 people just died right in front of us.
And you probably thought, like I did, it was a lot more than that. There was no way for us to know. I thought more than 100,000 died. Just how bad it was, but.
And we just started to run because I thought we're gonna get again into that smoke area, and we could not get on a Manhattan Bridge again. And we somehow, I by myself got to Midtown where our office was, where I was working every day. It was just one day only when they sent me to client side. What the chances? I remember when I could not breathe, I could not see. I was like, wow, I left everything behind in my home country and came to America to start new life, and now I have to die. I did not believe I will survive because it was so bad.
It was very bad. Unless you were down there, people don't understand the type of fear and the type of not knowing what's really going on, and the sorrow that you could feel instantly if you were down there, especially once the buildings came down. It was a very different mood, and the world was never the same after that, and we knew that. But getting past all that, you come to this country, you start a new life, you already see some crazy shit happen the minute you get here. Yeah. Not a minute, but within a year, you see something that changed our country forever, changed the world forever.
Yeah.
How do you get to where you are in your life now? You're a philanthropist. You seem to do a lot of different things. I mean, what do you do now? Back then, you were a computer programmer. I mean, what are you up to? What have you been up to?
Well, as I said, and by the way, I forgot to mention the second interesting moment when we just got that first day in into US and New York. Yeah. We were actually imagining the America as a place where all the skyscrapers everywhere. And when we came to Brooklyn, we lived in we got apartment. Again, my sister helped. We got apartment to live to rent in Bay Ridge, Brooklyn, and we saw. No skyscrapers, very kind of ugly looking buildings comparing to St. Petersburg.
It is, and that's another thing I don't think we realize. Like a lot of our architecture, man, especially in New York, it's like, yeah, the modern buildings are nice, but when you compare it to like Europe, their worst cities are more beautiful than our best. A lot of them, in my opinion. I'm born and raised here, but I've been to Europe. I've been all over the world. It's almost like we just even here, we're on the Jersey side, right? Mm-hmm. It's just just throw a building there, just throw, it's just no artistry to it.
Mhm.
So I agree with you on that. It can be very dark, and depending what part you're in, it can just look all the same and bland, very bland. No beauty to it.
Yeah.
So you're like, where's all the skyscrapers?
No, I mean, yeah, I mean, we would. Yeah, I think it's all
But
skyscrapers.
plenty of
Boom,
Russians.
none of them.
Huh? But you had a lot of your comrades all over Brooklyn. Huh? I mean, so there's a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah,
Russians. You had authentic food, yeah, like back home,
yeah. Of
right?
course,
That's a good part.
I cook all my life. First 7 years of my life, I was standing in kitchen, looking like my mom cooks, and
Were you involved in nightlife at all early on? Did you go out at all in those years? No.
in Norilsk, yeah. I was actually the first ever person in my hometown, 280,000 people. When I was 21, 22 years old, I was the first person who had sport car. I was the first one. At that age, nobody even. I mean, not nobody had a sport car. I had it. I got it. I worked my ass. I mean, nobody ever gave me any dollar. Everything I made because I
Nobody gave you a ruble.
smart enough, very smart by the way. And yeah, I remember it was Mazda Savannah RX-7, 1978, red with those up and down headlights. It was very cool with rotor engine. Only Mazda was making rotary engines, and I had it already. It was a very cool time. Yeah.
So what are you up to these days?
So I was still working on trying to help as many people as I can, especially after converting to Tibetan Buddhism. Here I met Dalai Lama.
You met the Dalai Lama.
Yeah, it was not personal meeting. It was a bunch of us young Buddhists sitting on the grass in Central Park, and he was on a little stage on a chair, you know, speaking, teaching Buddhist Dharma for 3 hours. I remember it was summer, July, I think, 2001 or 2000 or 2001. And it was one of the best moments of my life. Energy that comes from him, so amazing. I had goosebumps all over my body all these 3 hours. And Richard Gere was with him. He's his personal friend. He always accompany Dalai Lama when he comes to US. Yeah. And yeah, I started to work. So first I worked in that first company. I've been in offices of all biggest companies and banks in Manhattan. It was our overtime time. During the day, we worked as software engineers, writing the code, our software, and during the evening, we were moving in those banks and big companies, financial companies, the IT equipment, all computers, all monitors, and all kind of IT stuff. When they need to move from one building to another or from one floor to another, and they cannot lose any day. They leave in the evening. They leave. We come. We move everything to different location and reconnect everything the way that they come in the morning to different location, and everything works magically. Like a huge job. Sometimes we work 10 hours after we work whole day long, and then we work another 10 hours. And coming home almost in the morning, sleep a couple hours, and then go back to regular job. Yeah. And when I got second job, where I worked for 15 years, I've been indirectly saving a lot of lives in the world. by writing that special software for a company that it's one of the biggest public software companies of United States. That main goal of the company fighting terrorism, cyber crimes, and regular crimes. We that company was one of two biggest players in the world in that field. Governments probably of half of the world have and use our software. All law enforcement institutions use our software. All banks, all call centers, all fire departments, all police, FBI, everybody use our software and our hardware, surveillance cameras and software that helps to track terrorists before they commit terrorist acts. By working and writing that code, I mean, it was not just me. It was a huge team. We have offices back then it was in 72 countries. Now I think much more. And by writing that code, I was part of big team. And directly we were saving lives. Regular citizens sleep well, have their normal life, but all those bad people, they trying to do all the time something bad, and our software and hardware helping and still helping to prevent those terrorist attacks and all kind of stuff.
Are you still in that world?
No, I don't work anymore.
No more tech?
It's too much stress. Too much stress.
Are you're out of the corporate world?
Hmm?
You're out of the corporate world?
Mm-hmm. Now I'm just doing basically what Andy Warhol was doing in his factory in Manhattan in 1960s. I live in a tower of a church, old former German Catholic church, which was built in 1869, but maybe last 15 years or so got converted into a building got decommissioned, but because it's a historical landmark protected by U.S. government, by U.S. law.
So you live in a landmark.
Yeah,
currently.
yeah. It's now luxury apartments building.
Now, I've seen you're friends with a lot of big DJs.
Yeah.
You're very into the house environment, house music, EDM. How did you get into that world? You've always been a fan of electronic music, or?
Well, I grew up on rock music, but in 1990s, I was in the music scene in St. Petersburg. Everybody knew me there. I went everywhere, every club for free. And then I, quit that and decided to take 18 years break to be a good Buddhist, to work, and by working where I worked, help a lot of people, to save people's lives and help anyhow, and raise my kids.
So you work in the corporate world for a while. Your life transformed because of Tibetan Buddhism. You met the Dalai Lama. You've lived many lifetimes, even during this lifetime. I know you believe in previous lives. Even during this lifetime, you've lived multiple lives in multiple destinations around the world. I met you out in the scene. I met you in one of the most popular nightclubs in New York. It wasn't like I found you drinking and you were how you are now. I don't drink alcohol. I mean, do you drink? Or?
I only sip mezcal if I go out. I don't drink any other alcohol for at least 5 years. Only mezcal and sometimes crystal champagne, nothing else. Maybe 1 bottle or 2 bottles of beer, that's maximum, but usually even not that.
When did you retire from the corporate world?
Right before coronavirus started, yeah.
So before it happened?
Mm-hmm. I decided it's enough, and they wanted to move New York from New York to Atlanta, Georgia, and I had already everything. My life is here in New York, house, kids, friends, everything. Why would I go to Atlanta, Georgia from New York?
You still married?
Legally, we still married, but we don't live together for a long time.
Do you have any more kids or no?
I have 3 daughters and I have granddaughter.
So you're a grandfather.
Yeah.
You don't look old enough to be a grandfather.
I look young, but I'm 53. My 3 beautiful daughters, one 20, one 23, another 29, and the 21 years old still lives in Russia, and she gave me granddaughter 1 year ago. She's amazing. She's beautiful. She has my eyes, the same face like I had when I was 1 year old. Looking into old pictures, amazing.
We live in a very interesting time, unfortunately, especially with the conflict going on right now between Russia and Ukraine. What is that like as a Russian American? There was a lot of backlash, and people were boycotting businesses like the Russian Samovar, which my good friend owns, by the way. Yasha, I don't know if you know him. I just feel like a lot of Americans were taking out their anger maybe towards Russian Americans when, you're not in control of what happens over there. So what do you want to say about that conflict? As someone that's from there, born there, you kind of understand the dynamic better, and you understand America. I lost a lot of family in war. I lost almost 30 people in the Kosovo War.
Okay.
Between Serbia
Yeah. By the way, I used to live in Yugoslavia right before the war in Yugoslavia started. I already had some small business there.
It's sad what happened to that country.
I lived in Split. I had small business there, and then I decided to go back to Russia to celebrate my birthday, to see my friends, and come back, and boom, war started, and I never came back.
Yeah, it was
1990, 1991.
What do you think? I mean, it's such a horrible thing that's going on over there. I mean, your daughter still lives over there, yeah?
Yeah.
Can you
in my hometown? Yeah.
Can you go visit her?
No.
Now, when you say your hometown, she lives in that place you were telling me in the beginning? She lives in that harsh environment?
Yeah.
She was born there?
Yeah.
And she wanted to stay there?
Yeah.
Very strong human being.
Mm-hmm. She also works with it. That one of the biggest public metal production company in the world.
You speak to her?
Yeah, of course. I support her all my life to whatever I can, how I can.
Can you go visit her?
I mean, we had vacation together, introduce her to my friends and everything.
Can you go back to Russia?
Right? No, I cannot go there now because I do support Ukraine publicly, openly. And I ran fundraiser in my place, in my own home, in my church tower, fundraiser, 18 hours long fundraiser party for support of Ukraine. All money we sent to Ukraine to help Ukrainian soldiers to stay alive. After that, I cannot go to Russia.
You know for a fact you can't go.
No,
it's too dangerous.
I will get arrested in the airport and put to jail for 10 years for that.
Even though you're an American citizen?
But I have also a Russian citizenship.
You have dual citizenship.
Both, yeah.
How does that feel to know that you may never go back to see, your birthplace, let alone visit your daughter?
We talk on the phone, FaceTime, whatever. And one day maybe I come here or we will meet in another country.
And I don't think people understand the difference between you just want an end to a war and supporting that. I don't think anybody wins in war. Us common people, we don't win in war. I don't care about the politics. You don't care about the politics. We just don't want people that are caught on the crossfire. And that comes from both sides, whether you're a soldier or not. You're given an order, you go, and it is what it is. But so that sucks, brother. But, very brave of you to take a stance on that. Most people would just stay neutral, to not put their own well-being to jeopardize the ability for you to go back and visit your homeland and visit St. Petersburg, a place that you love, visit your family, see your granddaughter. Have you even seen your granddaughter in real life?
Not like live, but in the FaceTime, yeah, and pictures and videos, of course.
But it would be different. There's nothing
She's amazing. I'll show you.
There's nothing like the human touch, though. So that's not easy.
That is coming soon. We'll see each other soon.
God willing.
Yeah.
So where does this name Vadim the Machine come from? And what does that mean? What is it, Vadim the Machine?
Okay. There is a American stand-up comedy person. I forgot his name right now, but it was a very famous performance where he was explaining his no where he was telling a story when he visited Russia in 1990s with a group like it was so funny. It was so funny. That set was called The Machine. The Machine. You can find it on YouTube. It's so funny, so funny. And I watched it first time, and I thought that wow, that's kind of about me in my 90s, in 1990s when I lived in St. Petersburg. I was in all that mess there those years. I was like wow, and it stuck in my mind. The Machine. What happened? What was he saying? I don't know how much how much a real life story it was, but for me, it was basically the same things that he was telling about people, and I decided to take that nickname, The Machine, Vadim the Machine. In the also second reason why Vadim the Machine is because I have some gifts, some abilities that not many people can do. I am the machine. I'm not a human. I mean, I am a human, but I can do things that most of the people cannot do.
Such as?
For example, my days are not 24 hours. I stay awake for 72 hours and then I sleep for 24 hours straight. I can go without food and sleep at all, just water, 4 days and 4 nights. Done it many times. No sleep and no food. When you do no sleep or no food, it's not that hard if you're strong with your mind. But if you do both at the same time, no food and no sleep, not many people, can do this. I meditate a lot, but basically half of my life. I read very, very proper, very ancient books. I understand how universe works, everything.
You live in a church tower, and you had some of the biggest DJs on the face of the planet there. How do you become friends with these people? How do you meet them? Out, just being out, or?
When I decided to end the corporate life, decided to start helping people directly. Before I was doing it indirectly by writing that code during my 15 years in that company. I decided it's time to do those good deeds and help people directly. When I got that plan for the church, first stage was just getting that place, my apartment, known in the world, in music industry, make it famous, which I did successfully. DJs from 6 continents played in my apartment. Famous DJs, a lot of them. Deep house music and melodic techno and techno. A lot of people around the world and DJs and music producers know about my apartment. A lot of famous people from all kinds of people from around the world.
Yeah, it's just like
come to my place.
It's basically a hangout. It's not like it's some type of club or something.
No,
it's basically an experience, is what it is, and it's free. It's not even that these people are charging or you're charging. It's just a group of people that have the same energy, they have the same love for the art, getting together. And many times they get together after a big event or after a big night at the nightclub, and everyone that's invited, if they're lucky enough to be invited, they end up at this magical place. Is there a name for it?
The Tower of the Church. It's and I put into at least 8,000 people around the world phones my contact as Vadim the Machine, the Tower of the Church.
In stream? Live?
No, in my contact description.
Okay. Where do you see your life in the next 5 to 10 years? You working on anything interesting? Any projects? Anything?
Basically, what I do in this church, the same thing that Andy Warhol was doing in 1960s in his factory in Manhattan, but he was focusing more on artists and rock musicians. I'm focusing more on DJs and music producers, also artists and intellectual people, people of art, because those people are very big influencers. When I get them that very good experience in that in my place, in my own place, some of them, not all, but some wanna stay and get something more than just music experience. That's when I teach those people special meditation. I show something that they never experienced and never even thought of possibly existing. I show them something out of this world, and that one session changes people's lives if they are smart enough and they are ready. When they see what I show them in one meditation, a special meditation session, when they go through it, often with the tears hugging me, saying, "You're my brother for life," people that don't even know me much.
If someone wants to reach out to you, maybe seek your help, how can they reach you?
My Instagram is simple, Vadim The Machine. Vadim The Machine.
We're going to put it up
You
here.
just put my first name, it always comes up first or second. Vadim. If you put Vadim The Machine, of course, the only one.
So the rest of your life, at least for now.
And if you look it up in Instagram or Facebook, Vadim, my name is Vadim Smith. My legal name, Vadim Smith. It was Vadim Kuznetsov in Russia. Kuznetsov means a son of a blacksmith. So when I took U.S. citizenship, I was asked a question: would you like to keep your last name or to change it? And I decided to change it to just Smith. I didn't want to put it a son of a blacksmith, but I just decided to keep a Smith instead of Kuznetsov. Nobody could pronounce my name anyway.
Kuznetsov.
Huh?
Kuznetsov.
No.
Is that wrong?
Kuznetsov.
Kuznetsov. Your mission now
Mission, yes.
is the philanthropy part of what you do.
Yes.
You don't do any of this for any other reason except to try to elevate people's consciousness, their souls.
In one of my darkest days in St. Petersburg life in 1990s, I decided to leave this world, this society life, and become Buddhist monk in Buddhist monastery in St. Petersburg. That is like from 19th century and still open, and monks live there. First I moved, I rented apartment close to it so I could go there every day and sit and meditate with those monks, listen they traditional Buddhist singing, chanting, throat singing, instrument playing.
Do you know how to do any of that?
No, but I learned how to meditate properly and spend a lot of time there. And one day I decided to become a Buddhist monk in that monastery. I talked to the main person there, and from that conversation I got insight that I would be much more useful for people around the world if I go to United States and do what I started to do 5.5 years ago. I will explain in a second. Then it would be much more useful for Buddhism around the world and for any people around the world if I do what I'm doing now than to be a Buddhist monk in that monastery. Since that moment, I listened to that person and my life started to change. Right after that, I got a love. I got a beautiful young woman, and we became, we met together. We started to live together from the day one, and then we married. We got a first daughter. I mean, it was a second daughter technically because I already had one daughter before I met her. All those miracles started to happen. It was wow, with green card and Wow.
So Vadim, you're doing some really cool events. You're doing gatherings. You're helping people. You have some projects coming out in the future. What,
Yes.
where is your future going with all this? Before we
Uh,
close out the show.
so the last 5.5 years, it was the first stage of the plan, of a big plan. Um, I made a lot of friends in music industry and with many DJs. Um, Anywhere I go for free. I don't ever buy tickets to any party anywhere in the world. Now, because I do those gatherings in my place and where everything's free. I have the best sound system, the best visuals and everything, a very unique place, and people feel like home. I created that community, and people understand what I'm doing. Now, the second stage, where I open a non-profit foundation with my home office. Headquarter of this organization will be in the tower where I live. My apartment is the whole tower of that church. I know how to generate a lot of money if I only stay in that apartment on a constant basis. A lot of money. That non-profit organization will be helping hundreds of thousands people around the world. 50% of those millions will be going all the time to places, different places on Earth where natural disaster just happened, and people survived. And those people need some immediate things, medication, water, blankets, or anything else. They need to survive. That's where we're gonna spend that money. That's where we're gonna distribute everything for free. And the other 50% will go to help Tibetan Buddhist monks. It's my goal of my life to help Tibet to one day become free country again.
It's going to be very hard to make that happen,
but I can
know.
persuade any person, anybody to do certain things. You just need to speak properly. You just need to know. I know how to do it. One day it will become free again. I'm ready to give my life for this cause. And I now I came up with a brilliant idea, and I'm trying to execute this idea now. Though some bad people found out about this idea and they don't like it. That's why they're trying to kick me out from this building. The landlord, Jacob L. Sachs, and his partner, Jamie Weissman, tried to kick me out from the building. They don't like this idea. They don't like to help people to save lives. They want me out. They were taking me to court for 2 years. And finally, the judge was on their side as well this time. They kind of won the case. I'm now gonna lose this place, but it's not over until it's over. I believe what I have planned for this building is a noble cause. There are a lot of people in the world that understand my vision and understand this noble cause that will helping to save millions, one day millions lives. And those people will help me to buy out this building and create what I want to create, the healing center, the headquarters of that non-profit organization I was talking about. This is very important. This particular church is very important. It was built as a spot for people to connect with God. And what happened to this building, that it is now apartments where it's not right. I want to get this building back to its original purpose, to become again a place where people are healed mentally. I do help people. I help people with PTSD, with depression, with suicidal thoughts. I know things that not many people know because of that accident that I had 25 years ago.
You have a film coming out, a documentary?
Yes. The documentary movie about my life is coming out. It's already completely finished. The trailer, 2 minutes trailer, is on my Instagram and on my Facebook. Instagram Vadim The Machine.
We'll include links on the video.
Yeah, and Facebook is Vadim Smith. You can watch the trailer, but we're gonna have private screening either this weekend or next weekend. Then it's gonna go to all many short film festivals, London, New York, Cannes, many short film festivals. My movie director is amazing, David Sexta. He's produced a movie from last year, short movie, Better Love, won a lot of prizes on all those festivals. He decided to make a documentary about my life, and he asked me if it's okay, and I gave him my okay, and he created that documentary. He said it's gonna be very successful. I'm very excited. I'm gonna watch it this weekend or next weekend. Full movie, 1 hour long. I have also 3 books already in my mind, sitting, cooking for last 5.5 years. At least one Hollywood movie. I already had some talking to some people about it, about my life.
Working on a lot of interesting projects coming up.
Yeah, but right now, this July, August, I have to focus on saving the church. If I need to make a new movement, save the church, like Occupy Wall Street, if it needs to be that way, I will make that way. We'll do demonstrations. We'll do a lot of things to save this sacred place from those greedy landlord. 618 Bushwick Owner LLC. They are very greedy people. They just want money. I offered them very sweet deal, and they said, we don't want your deal. They did not even want to read it. I can show you that deal I gave them, and they just didn't even wanna listen, didn't wanna even read. They're not good people, and good people will help me to either buy out this building or somehow else. What I'm doing, it's right, and it's for many people, for benefit of many people in the world. I am selfless. I don't need anything from anybody. I'm Buddhist. I'm okay. I don't need anything for myself. To help as many people as I can. That's why God gave me the second chance when I didn't die 25 years ago, and that I got second chance. That was the whole purpose. He gave me a very clear message. That's what I have to do. That's non-profit foundation, helping people as many as I can, and for those who want to learn something, to change their life, to become not to stop being egoistical beings and try to help other people, and at the same time self-develop spiritually. I can help, and I do it already for last 5 years. You can ask around. People know who I am and what I do. I change people's lives, and I can start teaching those doctors how I do it, so they can do it on much bigger scales.
Folks, it's one of the most interesting people that live in our city here in New York. It's Vadim the Dream. You can check out all his content. His links are listed below. You can follow
Vadim
up on
the
him.
Machine.
You can follow up on him.
Vadim the Machine.
Vadim the Machine, sorry. Vadim the Machine.
The Machine.
We're gonna help him.
Strong like a bell.
He's got a documentary coming
Russian
out about
bear.
He's got a documentary coming out about his life. He's lived many lifetimes in one lifetime. He's got a lot he wants to give back to the world. You can follow his journey. Below are the links. And you're listening to the Beck Lover podcast, where you might learn a thing or two about life. Vadim, to the next time, I look forward to seeing you, and I hope you get to save the place that you're living. But go ahead, wrap it up.
Yeah. Just one more thing I want to say. It was the plan to make all DJs know my place, because DJs are very big influencers, and they can influence a lot of people around the world to become better people, to love each other, to love neighbors, to love, each other and help each other. Uh, by doing this, we can change the world. We can change our society. We can do so many good things if you just stop being self-centered, egoistic people and just help others. You will see your life will change. You will see good changes happening in your life, like miracles. Miracles happen in my life so often. I'm not even surprised when it happens, because it happens so much, so long, so many times already. Real miracles. Just try it. Pay forward. Give it without asking anything in return. It will help so much. And I can tell you much more, maybe another podcast. I know what happens when you have to leave your body for good. I know what happens, and I can tell you what you need to know, and that would be your best knowledge that you can get in this life.
You heard it here, folks. Vadim The Machine, here on the Beck Lover Podcast.
God bless you all.
Till the next time.
Peace, love, music. No war. Please, no war.
You heard it here. No war. We'll see you next time on the Beck Lover Podcast.
Lover.